Back in April, I had an incident where, weather-related events caused, damage to my roof. And so daddy couldn't call, mama couldn't call, boo-boo, the food couldn't call. Tempestt had to call the insurance company and explain. Tempestt had to be here when the appraiser came to assess the damage. I had to find a contractor. I had to pay the contractor.
Still unwritten. What's going on? The lies.
Hi, I'm Tempestt Griffin and I live in Richmond, Virginia. The best part about living alone in my 20s is just the fact that I can have my own space. I grew up with 3 siblings and I shared a room with my sister. So I never had my own space until I moved out of my parents' house. I love that, just independence, that freedom.
So you're now a homeowner.
Yes, I'm a homeowner.
What was like kind of the differences between living in an apartment and now you have your own home?
Apartment living is definitely something I feel is good for someone who, you may not be sure if you want to own yet, but you kind of want to experience that living alone kind of vibe. In an apartment, you don't have to be responsible for a whole lot of things. If the toilet stops working, you can call your landlord. In an apartment, he'll come fix it. In a home, however, there are a lot of things that you have to take responsibility for. So if my toilet breaks or does not work, I have to hire someone and pay them to come fix it. Those sort of things, as far as that responsibility part of owning a home, I think is that big difference between an apartment and having a property or having a home. A lot of people talk about home ownership being cheaper or more affordable than renting. I would definitely say that there's 2 sides of that coin. So in an apartment, you do pay rent, however, you're paying someone else. In a home, you're essentially paying yourself. You own your property, it is yours, nobody can tell you any different. With that, you're kind of paying it forward, kind of paying yourself. This is an investment. This is something that's going to eventually give you a benefit. In an apartment, you're kind of feeding somebody else. So I initially did not want to purchase property when I started looking. I wanted to actually do like a rent-to-own type of situation because I didn't feel that I was ready for that responsibility of having a home, having my own property. My coworker introduced me to his realtor who only does properties that you can purchase. So it was kind of like, okay, let me see what I can find. If I don't find anything, I'll just extend my lease or find a new place to live, whatever. But as I got more wrapped up into looking for a home and seeing what I could get for the price that I could get it, it was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Like, I have to do this. So we looked for about 3 to 4 months to finally find something that I liked. In this area, the market wasn't that great at the time, so there weren't a lot of properties that suited my style and what I wanted. I will say that, you can't have your heart set on one property. You kind of have to open yourself up to different types of properties. So for example, like the property that I purchased was ready to move in. That was perfect for my lifestyle because I work and I didn't have time in order to have the funds to try to fix something. But if you want a fixer-upper, those are available. So you kind of have to think about when you purchase a home, kind of those things. So my lifestyle, my taste. You can't purchase Dom Perignon on a Fanta Sprite budget. It can't happen. So you have to figure out how you can make that work for you. I would say for me, it wasn't necessarily easy on the emotional side, because I'm the type of person where once I see something I like, my heart is like, yes, I have to have it. At one point, I was actually building a house. I was able to pick out carpet colors and paint colors and different things like that. So I was really excited about that part. It fell through. And so because my heart was so set on that property, I was heartbroken. I never thought I would be hurt by something like that. It was emotional. And so I found myself kind of giving up in a way after a while. So I was like, man, I'm not finding what I want. And so it's helpful to have a realtor that is supportive, not only in terms of helping you find what you want, but in those moments when you're looking and you just don't see anything. And just helping you to just keep up that momentum, not getting too bogged down with what you can't find. And also your realtor should also be helping you to open up your mind and looking at different types of properties in different areas that you never thought you would ever see. When you have a good team, it makes it so much easier. When you have realtors that are hard to contact, they don't ask for updates. They don't care about what you want. They only want the money. If you're linked up with lenders and banks that are more worried about getting money as opposed to helping you, I would say definitely be patient when looking for a home. Opening yourself up, not too much. I made 2 lists. I made a list of all the things in a home that I needed. Like I needed a garage. I needed this. I needed that. Then there was another list that I made that's okay. If I see that, cool. If not, it's fine. And so I eventually crossed this property, which most of the stuff on my definitely have to have list was on it. The worst part about owning a home is, I can't even say it's a worst part because it comes with owning property, but definitely just that responsibility. Like nobody else can do anything to your house but you. Like, although having that, like, this is my house, it's my property, I own it, it's mine, you know, that's a great feeling. At the same time, when, like, for example, back in April, I had an incident where, you know, weather related events caused, you know, damage to my roof. And so daddy couldn't call, mama couldn't call, boo-boo, the food couldn't call. Tempestt had to call the insurance company and explain. Tempestt had to be here when the appraiser came to assess the damage. I had to find a contractor. I had to pay the contractor. Like, even though owning a property is wonderful, at the same time, that can also bite you. Because if you're not financially, you know, ready to have that type of responsibility, if you're not emotionally ready. I mean, there were nights I was here and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have to get this done. I don't have the money and I don't have the support that I thought I would have. You know, it's harder to do it on your own in that aspect. I would say definitely save. Budget yourself, save. If you're not ready financially, you're not ready. I know some people have families that are financially able to support them. I did not. And so when I wanted to move out, I had to be ready. Nobody was gonna put me out, but I knew financially I was good, emotionally I was good. And so that way I was able to just kind of move and not come back. I think that was my main goal, is to move out and not come back. If you have a goal of the price of the home you want to purchase, or the apartment that you want to rent, if you know the rent for apartments is about $1,000, you need to be saving 4 or 5 months of rent and utilities. So when you move out, you're not worried about, I have to pay, oh my God, I got to pay the rent. You know, I know I have to pay the rent, I'm good, I'm ready, and you have a little bit of cushion for emergencies and anything else you want to purchase for your home, because you're going to want to purchase something. You're going to want to purchase furniture, you're going to want to purchase, you know, accessories or things that make your house look pretty. I would definitely say before you buy a house, or even before you rent, I would suggest making one large purchase just to see how you feel about it. When I say a large purchase, I'm not saying like a Louis Vuitton bag. I'm talking like maybe, I don't know, if you have your own phone bill, you know, purchasing your own phone. If you're not able to sustain yourself financially living with your parents, you're probably not going to be able to do it on your own. Really think through it. Googling, Pinterest, looking at blogs, talking to people. Do that research before you jump in, but don't jump in head first without any information, because then you're going to be blindsided by things like damaged roofs and weird strangers coming at your door. Like, how do I handle that?
Last question. Is there anything that you have learned about yourself, like something that you discovered that you didn't know about yourself since you've been living on your own?
I would definitely say that I never used to be the type to think I would like to entertain. I was always, again, I lived with 5 to 6 other people growing up, so I thought that I would be perfectly okay with people not coming over, and I still am. But I think there are times, like during the holidays and during different events throughout the year, like, you know what, let me have a few girls over for a wine night, or let me have a few people over for dinner, or, you know, you kind of get into this, well, I have a house now, so I have enough space to entertain, and I don't feel so cramped in an 800 feet apartment. So that was very liberating to figure out. The best part about living alone in my 20s is definitely being by myself, having my own.
All right, yes, motion detected.
Hey. No.
Awesome. And so you now live, there is motion detected. Folks are here. You got company, girl.
You know, is my taste
detected in the backyard.
There is more motion.
There's plenty of motion. Let me just turn this down, because see, this is just gonna make us all mad. What did I say?
And what's the worst part?
Oh my gosh, the worst part It's a doorbell. No. The